Welcome to episode 2 of our series on exit strategy and having a business that is built to sell. I'm Cher Cunningham. I'm your coach.
I'm Jim Pillow. I'm your consultant.
A lot of the things that happen for a very small business, we work in that small business 5 to 50 employees range, and a lot of things that happen are people will tell us, I can't sell my business. Nobody would buy my business. Or on the flip side, I hate my business. Maybe I could just sell it. And so there's a misunderstanding about what makes a business possible to sell. Why would somebody buy your business? And there is a reality that if you wouldn't wish your business on your worst enemy, then nobody really wants to buy it. Probably. Although I think Jim would challenge me on that.
Yeah, for the most part, your business needs to be successful, and we're going to talk in this episode and the next couple of episodes about specifically what makes a business interesting. But there are strategic buyers out there who will buy a business that's a bit down and out, and typically that's because it's being not managed very well, but they can see the gold in the opportunity. So there are buyers who will buy businesses at fire sale prices, maybe because the owner's tired and they just want to get out, maybe because the business is not as profitable as it should be, and the owner's not getting a reward for the risk of their investment for being a business owner. So that can happen. You can have a business that's not optimized that somebody wants to buy, but for the most part, that's not how you want to live in your business, and that's not going to maximize its value for you.
So one of the exciting things that has come up for us and for our clients as we launched the Built to Sell VIP Day that you'll hear about as well at the end of this video is that they may not have realized that they could sell their business. So that knowledge that we're available to talk you through what does that mean has opened up some eyes and opened up some possibility for people. And we hope to do that for you here because one of the things that we do really well is we respect you, your business, the wealth you're generating from it, and your financial future almost as much and sometimes more than you do yourself, because we can see the profit and wealth inherent in the business you're building, and sometimes you can't. And oftentimes the experts you're working with are used to you being a little teeny tiny business and haven't thought about you ever selling, and might even try to discourage you from the hard work of getting your business ready to sell and then selling it.
And getting ready to sell your business involves other planning and activities about selling, but then optimizing the tax so that you get the most value that you can out of your business. We do always speak to clients early in the process of our programs about their exit strategy and their exit plans. Couple of examples, and this is not unusual. Where we talk to a client about the business and they'll say, well, I'll never be able to sell my business. And it's not unusual for us to say, well, how did you come by your business? And the client will often say, well, I bought it. So clearly businesses are bought and sold all the time. And the more valuable you make your business, the more likely it is to be a candidate for sale. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. So it behooves you to we use the acronym ARTS in the last one, always ready to sell. It behooves you to be always ready to sell.
And so that anecdote about that's a specific business owner that you were speaking to about he had purchased his business years earlier and was not planning his exit, wasn't sure where he was going. Is that something that you are seeing commonly when you have that first conversation? I don't ever get to listen in on that first conversation with the business owner.
The business owners we speak to, so there's some complexity. It's often the case that the advisors that the client has, generally in the accounting world, have recommended that the business be set up in a way that actually doesn't facilitate its sale, that actually causes potential tax inefficiencies down the road as you sell your business. And I won't tell you tax is everything in a sale transaction, but it's a really important component of the transaction. So if the business has grown with this unwieldy structure wrapped around it, sometimes there's a little bit of reticence about how do I deal with that? I can't sell it the way that would be best. I would have to sell it this way if I had to do that. So the earlier we catch people in their exit thought planning, I think the easier it is to orchestrate that with them, to set them up properly for at least the tax portion of their sale as part of the effort.
Now, one of the things I love about what we do in our business is working with that small business that is often either ignored by bankers and larger advisors or misinformed by the smaller advisor. Maybe their accountant is looking at them and not understanding their goals and the impact they want to have, and they're at that $1 million level. And luckily, most accountants recognize that there's a specialty to that and that there's a need for real understanding and strategy behind what do you do with your business when you're at that level and next. And that can lead to them reaching out to us and having that conversation relatively early on in the business, at which point we will bring up, where do you want to go with this? Mm-hmm. And really respect what you want to create, no matter what that is. If it's, I never want to sell, but I want to be able to reach this level, being able to dig into what your goals are for your business and really optimize your corporate structure, your organizational structure, your profitability, and treat that with respect. You need to know what your business is worth. You need to know what you're creating, because you are the one who's going to need to drive this forward. You will get conflicting advice, often from people who don't really know how to do the doing, and so it's a lot of work to them, so they think it's maybe too much work to them, it might be too much work for you. So you actually need to drive toward the results you want to achieve in your business. Even with the advisors that you're working with, you are the leader of that process. You need to believe it, and you need to believe that you're worth it and that your lifestyle and legacy are worth it.
The method for exit is clear at the time of exit. Sometimes things can be optimized at that point. Often they cannot be optimized at that point. So to actually plan for an exit a long time before your exit requires a very good understanding of the path that you're on as a business owner. Whether you're planning to exit with $1 million business or a $10 million business, the exits of those two businesses will look very different, and how you set them up is dependent on what you're trying to accomplish as a business owner, really.
Right, and your determination, your resilience in your business, this is another place that it needs to shine through. Building that plan is a piece of building your confidence that you're heading in that right direction. So there are some problems that absolutely can get in your way when you are thinking about selling your business. A lot of it is that misinformation that you're going to hear around whether you can sell your business, what is business value, how should you sell your business. There are a lot of urban myths, shall we say, about what can and cannot be done. And sometimes people with a very little bit of knowledge will seize on a couple of factoids and share them as though they are true across the board. And so checking into that and really diving into your situation is important.
Yeah. So we business value is the asset side of the equation. You get value out of your business by taking an income. That's terrific. Business value is what's left after you take out your income, assuming that you're taking out sort of a normal income for the employment function that you have in the business as the CEO, typically. Business value is the other stuff, is everything else that the business is worth. So understanding what builds that value. And one of the important pieces that we talk about with clients is strategy is at the heart of figuring out how to make your business valuable. And in a nutshell, that is, where do you play? You as a business, where do you play, and how do you win? And that, answering those questions, creates a distinct business model. And the more carefully you architect that arena, the more valuable your business is going to be on exit.
There is a temptation in business for small businesses to just let clients drive their business model, which is how you can end up with not really a business model at all. When your arena that you're playing in is poorly defined, it's too big, there's too much competition. Sometimes what has happened is that you have become all things to all people. Because you can do something, you do something. So from the outside looking in, that is a very amorphous business. It's not something that has a defined business model. It doesn't fit well into the marketplace. It does not lead to great co-opetition and solid relationships with people who are driving business to you and supporting you. That can lead to a place of really untapped value in your business. You cannot unlock the potential of 16 businesses at once, and that's really what you can end up doing, is not being a single business entity. You're just everything. And when you're everything, that can lead to a few poor decisions. And in small businesses, one of those is turning yourself into a commodity.
And you might be sitting there going, why are they talking strategy and having an arena and making those decisions? It's because when a buyer, and we're going to talk about this in more at length, but what the buyer is actually buying is your profit. Your future profit, in fact, not your historical profit. So they're not buying anything you've already done, they're buying what you've built as it goes forward. So by defining an arena, where do you play, how do you win? By defining that carefully and working diligently at optimizing it, you're going to be more profitable than your competitors, which will command a premium value as you exit your business.
And your customers will be trained to understand your value, as opposed to being the kind of customers that are always looking for the cheapest price, looking for you to sharpen your pencil, as it were. So we work with small businesses, and as opposed to those big businesses where you can be all things to all people, right? A small business needs to stand out as a distinct business. And here our mantra is, you need to get better and better at less and less.
Mm-hmm. Your 1 inch of excellence.
And then optimize that. Right? Build from that place. There is a temptation to add on to build more revenue, and that is seldom the place of increased profit.
I think people who come in often feel that part of the problem is, crummy employees, I guess, is how it's often expressed to us when clients first arrive here. My employees won't do what I say, and they're terrible, and
nobody really buys into this. I'm the only one who's working hard, and nobody wants to show up. Nobody cares, and absolutely there can be a culture in which people do kind of fall to that level of expectation. But what's important to recognize is everybody wants to do a good job. We're just wired that way. There really are no people problems, there are just process problems. So what is creating the people problems is the underlying process, the underlying culture of the business. Your hiring process, how you're training, how you're managing, can lead to employees that just don't care because they don't think you do either. They're just showing up for their paycheck. They're not getting satisfaction from the job. They're not feeling secure and appreciated. We look at your business and go, where's the vavoom? Where's your vision? Where are your values? What's the mission? How are people who are showing up to work getting meaning from the work that they're doing, whether it's by how they are working inside the business or the impact the business is having on the world. In order to do that, you need to step into that leadership place. We're going to talk about being the CEO. Stop doing that thing you're great at and step into the CEO shoes at least part of the time. Right? Sometimes you'll still want to be in the field, you'll still want to be on the tools or at the desk, but you need to, in order to get great employees, support those employees by being the leader, building into place the accountability and the management that lets them build their careers with you.
And then it's important to understand employee math. And in Canada, as an interesting piece of data for you, in Canada, small businesses, the average revenue per employee is between $150,000 and $200,000 per year. So you have to pay your employees, and hopefully you pay them well and fairly. But employees actually produce, they're the ones that are producing the revenue. They're doing the work that produces the revenue that satisfies your customer demand. So adding employees, as long as the demand is there for your product or service. Adding employees actually adds typically 150,000 to 200,000 per revenue. And that's across the board. That's not just employees who are working in the front line of your business. It includes your office staff. That's the average across all companies that are small businesses in Canada. It's remarkable.
So when you do embrace this challenge of thinking, how could I sell my business when I'm constantly putting out fires and making all the decisions, really understanding how to be a great boss and build up your employees lets you start stepping out of your business further and further. It can feel like a catch-22, and we completely understand that. There's a process that needs to happen in order to make those steps.
I think one of the typical problems that occurs in selling, another challenge that occurs in selling your business is it's your baby. So you built it. That's completely understand that. It's we gave a talk a few weeks ago, and that process of creating a company is one of the most creative, heart-filling, effort pouring into things that you can do in life. It's just a marvelous experience. But then it's your baby. You built it.
It's a bit of an identity shift to stop being the person who is delighting the customers, but be the person whose business is delighting the customers. The belief that you're the one who does things right. You learned how to do it. You can train it. It can be captured and documented. There's actually a process of getting all that out of your head and into the heads of the people that are working for you. Making that identity shift to say, okay, my business is going to be a process-driven business that delivers what I used to do myself.
So the role that you have is, as creator, is to actually let that go, let your business go off into the world, and really the role is to lead people, employees, lead people in realizing your vision, your mission, and your values. That is the job, and if that's your job, then the exit becomes much more straightforward, because your mission, vision, and values, the thing that you created, the essence of what you created is embedded in your company then.
Yeah, that ability to imagine not doing the thing that you are good at. There's a lot of trust in there. There's a lot of trust in yourself as a leader. There's a lot of trust in employees, and there's a process to building that trust. Getting your team on the same page, getting everybody pulling in the same direction. Your employees care. That's why they work for you. And it can be a very exciting thing to discover how much they care and why they're working for you and where they want to go in their career. And in many small businesses, there isn't that type of communication. But leadership is a skill, management is a skill. There's a ton of templates and resources out there. We have a bunch of them that we work with clients to be able to be the leader, to build up their managers. And I say managers intentionally because you cannot do it all. Even when you stop doing the doing of your business, the management and leadership of your business, you can't do all that yourself either. In a whole separate episode, we could talk about span of control and how to transfer ownership of a role and how powerful that is for your employees, not just for you. But know that there's only so many people you can manage effectively, and that there are processes, learnable, templated, teachable processes that can empower your team to be pulling in the same direction with you.
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Exit, Not a Four-Letter Word. I'm Jim Pillow, I'm your consultant.
And I'm Cher Cunningham, I'm your coach. I hope you'll join us next time.